The markets were volatile again today, and we were there to capitalize on them. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education, and do you know why bees have sticky hair? It's because they use a honeycomb. We're going to take a look at the SPY and the Qs and do a little more technical analysis on that, and then we're also going to be talking about some economic reports. I'll tell you about Moomoo and how you get your free shares, my buys and sells, where you can see them, and then also the options course that I'm building. In the meantime, I do want to get right over to those economic reports, so we'll take a look there first. So let me put this up here. This is trading economics that we're looking at. And when we go down to tomorrow, here's a really important time of day that we want to be looking at. And this could possibly be a catalyst for the markets that could move it. It's consumer confidence that we have from the conference board coming in at 10 a.m. And you could see we had 106.1 and now it's expected to be 105.5 coming up tomorrow. So we're going to have to look and see if we get that. And the reason why there's a consensus in the forecast is because if we actually go over to the conference board's website, they provide this picture here for us. And this picture is one that you absolutely want to be paying attention to. And you can see that we have this narrowing going on right now. And it is possible that we do see that 105 because that would be on trend. And look at what happened back in 2008. And now, mind you, this takes a significant break of things, significant decline, but this sharp drop off that you see in 2007 leading up to 2008, that's what we're looking for right now to see if we get that steep decline. And so we'll watch that to see what we get and then just take a look at the pandemic and see what happens with consumer confidence. And so if consumer confidence does happen to wane, that can be further downward pressure on the markets, and we want to be watching for that. So just because I have the catalyst up here, we'll be looking at this. Durable goods could be a little bit of an indicator for us. And then GDP, the growth rates, the final for Q2 are coming up on Thursday. Another big catalyst, initial jobless claims. We got roasted by this last Thursday. If we stick around these low 200,000 levels, that could be further roasting or just continued pressure on the markets. If we come down below 200,000, like 185,000, for example, I think that would be further downward pressure, and it could certainly be enough to turn the markets around. So Tuesday at 10 a.m., we have something coming up. And then I think the next big one that we really have is this Thursday between the GDP announcements. Initial jobless claims is another one that we absolutely want to be watching for that. And when we go down to Friday, then 8:30 a.m., that's when we have our core PCE information and also just personal spending, which you can see was at 0.8. We expect a little bit of tapering on that. The softer that is, the closer that is to 0.2, the more upward pressure is on the markets. The stronger that comes in, the harder it is on the markets, and that could be continued pressure. Should we see those higher numbers? Softer numbers are better numbers. Of course, PCE, same things, come in 0.3. I think even where the market in its fragile state right now, that 0.3, 0.4, those could definitely be very impactful to the markets. 0.2, a little bit of upward pressure, kind of breathing, a little bit of certainty coming up there. And of course, below that for the core measures, 0.1 or below, not too low, of course, which we don't expect that to happen anyway. I would expect us to come in within 0.1 of what we have for those core numbers. And then when we look at the month over month for PCE, 0.5 and 0.4 are the consensus and the forecast from trading economics that we see coming up, and coming in highly north of those numbers is also going to be something that could cause downward pressure on the markets, coming in softer, upward pressure on the markets, and otherwise it's about priced in. So that's what we're looking at as far as the economic indicators go coming up for us. So let's put the charts up there now and start talking about the SPY, and then we'll move on from there to the Qs. So what we have up right now is the SPY. When we look at this one, and you can see this blue line, that was that magic number of 430 that I talked about in my previous videos. If you haven't watched them, you should go back and watch them, especially the most recent one where I talk about the ultimate rejection levels. I did say that we could retest 434, 438, and then that ultimate rejection level that we'd have be up at 432. And there is a trend line that we can actually draw across the top of this. I had it in one of my previous videos, and I think it's about time that we bring it back. So let me draw that on there for you quickly. This is something that we want to pay attention to as well, that if we keep on getting rejected off that line, should we end up making it past that ultimate rejection level of 442 like I was talking about, which I don't imagine that it would take us that long to retrace up that way, several days. I think the 50-day is going to be sooner what stops us out and what gets us rejected. Staying under that would be a bearish sign, could be that further downward pressure that we see. And I think that would happen around that 442 level. That would be the confirmation that it's time to go lower if that hasn't already happened once we retested 434 or 438. So those are the other numbers to keep in mind. So today we were red, we were green, and I said over in my Discord, I said, we have red early in the pre-markets, probably turn green a little bit after that. And then, we're going to have to watch and see how the rest of the day goes. And that's exactly what happened. So that was kind of interesting to watch. It is something that I'm planning for, and I am setting up for the longer term drop that I do expect to happen, and then playing the near term movements as they have them. And I want to share those gains that I had with you from the most recent options plays that I cashed in on. So first, before I get to those, I do want to put up the cues. And for this one, I actually need to put the blue line back on this one for that magic number. The magic number on this one is 354. So that's what we want to be watching. Closing below that number. And you'll notice with the SPY, we actually closed, we did tag below 430, but we closed above it. And that's why we didn't get quite the sell-off here. For this one, losing this bottom of $354, that's going to be that sign for us that even though right now, like that 356, 357 is what we're looking at for where that bottom is, the next one after that's 354. And once we give up that, that's where those farther falls are. So we want to be watchful for that. So this one, you can also put a trend line across the top. And I had it, like I said, for the other one in some of my previous videos. I'll put it back on here for this one as well. So let me click there. And it's going to look a lot like what we had for the SPY. And so for this one, also playing it out, and both of them have similar looking momentum. Now, even though we did get close to bottom, much like we did back here, we turned things around rapidly from there, although we're under different conditions this time. I don't know if we get close to 50 for the RSI, but don't turn it around at 54 at the RSI. That is also, to me, going to be a strong signal to us that it could be time that we're going to start turning things around. Now, the rejection levels that I talked about, 360. So actually, let me go down to the 30-minute chart. And on the 30-minute chart, you can see where we peaked out for this thing, where we closed. We closed the day at 359.70. So we were within 30 cents of that first retest level. And then after that, 364 is that next level that we want to be looking for. And I went into more detail at my other video, but 364 is at the bottom of this red candle that's over here. And then the ultimate rejection level that I have for this is 372. So where's the 50-day right now? It's actually at 371.46. So I might update that number to be a little bit lower because I think getting rejected at that 50, we might even peekaboo over it a little bit. That would be something to absolutely watch for. To see if that actually happens. Should we retest that? And I don't know that we even get to this trend line. That turning around before we get to it could also be a sign of further sell-off, that we sooner come down and test support rather than going up and retesting resistance. So we want to be on the watch for that, and we just want to be very careful that we know what's coming up for us, or that we can anticipate what's coming up for us and then make plays based off of that. So I do my trading over at Moomoo, and using my link down in the description, you can get up to 16 free stocks. Using these deposit levels that are down here, each stock is valued up to $2,000 a piece, and that $5,000 deposit level, not only do you get the 15 free stocks, but the free share of Tesla or Google. I share all my buys and sells over at the Discord, which is available through my Patreon. And then also I have my options course available through that Patreon as well, which is available for every tier of the Patreon. I am currently building that out. I am 9 lessons in, and I plan to go up through from the very beginner all the way up through the advanced trading strategies for options. So that is most definitely something to watch for. So guys, at this point in time, I want to tell you about the gains for the options plays that I currently had out that I've been holding on to over the weekend that I cashed in on today. And I'll tell you what, it was, again, another really exciting day. So let me put the chart back up there. And the first one that we'll go to is TQQQ. Now for this one, for TQQQ, which tracks it's a triple leveraged version of QQQ, which tracks the NASDAQ 100. This one, if we go down to the 30-minute chart, there we go. Actually, let's go a little bit. No, let's go down to the 5-minute chart for this one so we can see it. So for this one, I sold out somewhere around this bottom here, anticipating that we would hit strong upward movement from there, watching the momentum as that happened and deciding that it was time to cut it loose for now, even though I did take a longer put option position in TQQQ today. So that I think was very noteworthy, because if I didn't cash in down there, I didn't have another opportunity besides this one, and that wouldn't have been nearly as good. And so I was able to cash in on that one at a 21% profit, which took me from Friday until Monday to make it. Those darn weekends, right? So that worked out pretty well for me. The next one is Datadog, and this one I showed in a previous video, and I wanted to tell you my results of getting into this trade. So we had the head and shoulders pattern happening for this one, and the neckline for this one was right around 91.50. We were below that, and today, seeing that the price was recovering a little bit, I figured that was a good time to cash in on that part of it. I do still hold another $87 strike, which expires this Friday. So that one's a close one, I'll tell you what. But for right now, Datadog, I cashed in at 36% profit on that part of that play so far. Now, in terms of so far, let's go to SoFi. And for SoFi also, we have a head and shoulders pattern here as well. And this one I cashed in on today at a 50% profit from what I got in at on Friday until today, watching that happen. And again, we had a small price recovery, and I figured that I would replan, possibly re-enter a position. We're going to have to wait and see for that one. But I did want to share those with you, that I had 3 more winners going down, all with very significant gains and those very significant profits, and then a few others that I haven't cashed in on yet. And, the story's still out there on D-Dog. If we're going to get that drop down to 85 or 86, and that last $87 strike that I have is going to work out for me, I'll report it back to you guys, and I will most definitely have that buy and sell alert put up over at the Discord, available through the Patreon if you want that. If you want to learn about options, that options course is being developed right now, and you can get access to it through the Patreon as well. My NVIDIA stock price prediction, NVIDIA earnings projection over there. Tesla stock price prediction and earning projection coming out very soon. We actually have deliveries coming up for Tesla, and I'll cover that in another video. And then, guys, those free stocks from Moomoo, don't forget about them. The link is down in the description of this video. Go ahead and click sign up, and then you can trade on Moomoo like I do. And I can tell you, it's a wonderful platform. Their options calculator, options analysis tool, the community that they have over there, and also the learning materials that they have are also very informative and very well done. Thank you guys for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.